All right, thank you.
Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Making Your Digital Mark. My name is Lisa Apolinski, content coach and creator, and America's digital content futurist. And I am very excited to have my good friend, my colleague, and someone who teaches me a lot about user experience because it changes every single day. Fahad Shakil. He is the owner and president of Workforce Commerce. And he is someone, if you have worked with me in the past, you know that you ever have a website or application question, I send you to Fahad because he is the expert. This is his absolute area of genius. And Fahad, thank you so much for being on today. I'm really excited about our conversation.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. So, Fahad, if you could just introduce yourself, talk a little bit about how you started, when you started developing websites and how your journey kind of made it to this point.
Well, I'm, as you already described me, running a company, Workforce Commerce, it's more like a heterogeneous company. So exactly that's my own flavor, being a heterogeneous and adding to different flavors. Because honestly speaking, a lot of things happen accidental in my career. It's not like that I was planned, educated for the web development. So I started with signal processing and drove into the field of satellite communication, worked for the different TV channels, configuring their satellites and stuff, and working on different compression algorithms. And gradually, I came on a need where I had to build a few softwares for those audio and video for the channels, for screencasting. And obviously, when it comes to the media thing and throwing something towards the satellite, it always needs to be very beautifully rendered and then optimized. So working in those fields, working on those software, gradually I drove into the field of web development where I started building back-end websites, the huge systems. In this, with all this experience of signals processing, I got a chance to work with food and beverages, FMCGs, including some major brands, food brands in United States. I've worked with the law enforcement, with schools. So adding all up to this makes like around 20 years of effective experience. And then when I started my company, so it's been more than 2 years. We are working on artificial intelligence and machine learning. And it's not like I changed my area,
Right.
but I believe by the time technology is growing, the new trends and new technologies are becoming the part of your existing techniques. If you talk about the website, it's not like if I'm doing AI, I cannot build the site. So we build the site with the help of AI, and we
Right.
utilize that machine learning in effective practices. And by the time you have more questions, probably I'll give you more clear case studies that how this combination works.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I mean, we met over a decade ago, but we started working together probably 3 or 4 years ago. And
Yeah.
I feel like websites have shifted so significantly over the last 4 to 5 years, especially with COVID. Um,
Mhm.
what has your experience been? Because you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So kind of take me into the Wayback Machine with how websites started and where we are today. What trend have you seen with user experiences and websites? How people are using them versus how they use them even 3 years ago?
Yeah, true. So, in just 3 years, I mean, obviously technology is shifting and things are changing ever since it has started. But right now, if you just see the post-pandemic and even during pandemic time, the major shift came just because of people are more immune to work on the remote tools. They are immune to work in isolation virtually. So the SaaS solutions or the remote solutions and empowering them. And it also impacted a lot of things. Just like if I give an example, there is a corporate application and people were working in their offices, so they never care about the bandwidths. they
Right.
had the right equipment. But when they are working from home, so like people take it slightly casually sometimes. I mean, when we were working, sometimes we used to read the emails on mobiles or use any computer. Even sometimes I used the computer for my kids with no certain tools and technologies installed in that. So this has changed the paradigm of website architectures. We have to build even more compliant and optimized websites with the state-of-the-art performance, personalization, and obviously the user experience has to be even more perfect because at home people do not have those specialized equipments.
Right.
If you talk about the responsiveness, uh, earlier, I mean, responsive thing is something which is being evolving since 2005, 2004. But
Yeah.
during COVID, people started building websites in mobile first. Then people started building in Retina ready applications, which are even more compliant with your mobile devices. They more emphasized on the performance of the websites because, like we are sitting in a corporate, you have all very good internet, high-speed internet services. But when you are sitting remotely, you are using 4G sometimes, or you have home connections with the limited bandwidths for the
Right.
speed. So we have to have optimized websites so that we can deliver the maximum content. And other than that, if there are so many areas, if I start speaking on this, we'll probably keep on speaking for an hour or two, or maybe whole night. Just like if I talk about the e-commerce, the trends have been changed because people are on mobile. Now, like you should talk about the TikTok stores, something like people
Right.
can do the video selling type of thing. Then the contactless payments came in play, which are
Hmm.
even more empowering. So, and more interactive, immersive experiences started, just like there are the more convenient VR devices available. You can use them. The concept of NFT came in play, and it's
Right.
still there is a strong human sentiment connected with the NFT and the commodity. I mean, the virtual commodities concept. So there is a lot of things which came, and it shifted the paradigm of user experience. So the users' demands or expectations were here in like 30 years of web development previously, and it went double in
Yeah.
just 3 or 4 years. So we are expecting a lot. If a user is expecting a lot, then a developer or an owner who owns this website has to deliver according to the expectations. So this was the major shift, and obviously in the end of that, I mean, it's worth to say that we are using AI now
Right.
because although it's a post COVID, but during the COVID in past 2 years, AI has just shaken up the whole industry. So the
Yes.
user experience with a AI create an ultimate sense. Just like if I go on any website and I see there is an AI chatbot, I'm pretty much like I get more comfortable that I don't need to wait for any human and there is not going to be a queue gonna wait me for 30 minutes to chat because
Right.
I understand being a technical person, the whole algorithms runs in my mind and I can totally understand it has the complete data set on the back end and the chat is going to give me a comprehensive answer. So that's why I rely on that websites much more than the traditional websites which were having their customer agents and doing the chats on the back end.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things that I noticed working with you and seeing clients that you've worked with, these extra touches that you do. First and foremost, some of your designers to me are some of the best in the world. And
They-
yeah, and they add in these little personal touches. And if you've read my book, Greatest Personal Brand Story Ever Told,
I
you
would
know
read
that
it. Yeah.
creating a community and having your brand infused in everything that you do is critical. And like on my website, you know, you have the mouse, but you have it as a paw print.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
these little touches that to me enhances the user experience and makes it unique and more enjoyable. And the other thing that you do that I think is so critical, especially if you are a US based company, to
Mhm.
be compliant with privacy, cookie consent, and terms of service. And you
Yeah.
make sure that any website you build, it has to have that compliance. And I've noticed other people that I've talked to, and I go on their website and I go, where's your cookie consent? And they're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, well, you could get fined. And now in the States, they're going after these small businesses that don't have these policies in place because it's easy money and they're getting fined $25,000, which is
That's
a
true.
lot
Yeah,
for a small business to pay because some web developer didn't think, oh yeah, you need to be compliant with these CAN spam laws and have these policies on the website. And I think that's also, to me, a huge differentiator, that you're always looking out for the future of what needs to be in compliance for the websites, which I really appreciate. So I just wanted to point that out to
Like,
our listeners.
yeah. Here, I would like to add comment. This is all connected again with the user experience, because
Yeah.
if you go back into the 90s, you remember when the government of United States, federal government issued the regulations for the accessibility regulations for the buildings,
Yep.
banks, commercial properties. And then there was a time in between 95, 96, and specifically right after the 9/11 thing, a lot of attorneys who were actually getting out of jobs and they had no work. I mean, sorry to say, but the fact is that they had this point that they started pointing out those buildings and they started working with them to get all the compliance. So this is exactly now happening because the data is important. The
Yeah.
more we are going into an innovative sort of world, everything is going digital. Even your home registry, your mobile phones, your car registry, everything is digital.
Yes.
So one loophole, you're gone. So I believe that it's a part of user experience. When we are bringing a huge audience on our website, we have to have those policies in the play, and they should know our rights and their rights. No one
Yes.
should be able to play with us, and we should let people know that we are not playing with you. There are in like your privacy policy, there is a privacy officer we label in the privacy policies that this is the guy. In case of any problem, you can talk to them. Then thanks to the European Union, that GDPR came into work in probably 2016. The GDPR regulations were enforced. So we make sure that everyone has although still a lot of US states does not comply with GDPR. But even then, across the world, across the globe, I enforce website owners to go for the GDPR compliance. This is some very good practice, and obviously it never breaches basic human rights, and obviously
Right.
the data privacy is
Yeah,
there.
it's kind of the
And at
gold
the moment,
standard.
like
Absolutely.
there are more than 2 dozen probably customers, maybe more. I don't have the list, but I'm sure more than 2 dozen customers. We are consulting them for these privacy policies, terms and conditions, EULA regulations, disclaimers, returns policies, refund policies, cancellation terms, payment terms, all these things in a very innovative way that we work on a Telmageddon, and we do have everything in a really impressive way from the back end on the clicks and the wizards. We configure these things for customers. And I think it saves my customers, our customers, from the bigger lawsuits. And
Yes.
on the hidden side, there are a lot of their end customer who is visiting their website and making purchases because there are policies in place and they
Yeah.
trust those side because of
Yeah.
those policies.
Yeah.
This is the one part of answers. The first part, now I'm going to answer about you, is the feel, what I create.
Yes.
Since it's connected with the very first question you talk about me, the post-COVID changes. Post-COVID, one of the major trends came in that earlier people used to rely on the physical stores for their shopping, on the offices. They used to go to talk to the person, no matter what it is, whether you have to buy something, you have to get a service, you have to, I mean, hire someone, you need to visit I mean, there was a trust on the people. But now trust is coming on the digital brands, online stores, and we have to give a feel there.
Yep.
The true user experience is not only the performance and the programming and functionality. It's all about a feel, creating a feel. Just like we work on Anthony Mark. I'm not sure in this podcast or webinar we are allowed to take the name of the brands, but I'm happy to talk about like we work on a photographer's side and we created a feel there. So, but the things he is producing, that guy is producing, it was all about the boudoir photography and the portrait photography. And we just created a website where even a first glimpse, anyone can say, oh, this is the photography website. Now we talk about the Brian Fielko. He's more like a corporate trainer who works
Right.
on the safety. And he mostly give the trainings to the blue collars jobs or even white collar professionals as well. And we created a field there. We give the PDFs and pamphlets, and the color scheme was all like blue and green, which is more compliant to the safety. And we use the yellow color. And like yellow color is primarily for the safety
Right.
color. And talk about I mean, there are 10, 20 websites we work in past 2 or 3 years. And in all these websites, we just try to create a field. So my perspective is that if some customer is visiting my website, say you gave your example, the three dog ride, the name says it all and the site says it all.
Right.
They get a feel of their output, what they're gonna end up buying from you,
Right.
from the first view of the website. And obviously it's not only the content. Obviously I admire the way the content strategy has been changed. Earlier we used to write the paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs just to stuff the keywords, but the things have been changed because Google always rate your website on the basis of how much time the user is staying on your website.
Yes.
So there is just one word punchline in the header. Sometimes that's enough to keep the customer on your side. So just a one-liner is enough. We have built a few sites where there was no content on the side, but the imagery and the design and animations and just 1 or 2 line, maybe a slider there. So this is all about the feel we are creating. And if customer is looking for, say, I'm gonna buy this guitar, and I go onto a website, but this website is maybe in a green color or pink color, I just close it because I find it more like a promotional website.
Yeah.
But if this website is like a blue color, because guitar is all about the wood, so
Right.
it's a wooden color, brown color, what we call as a blackish wooden color. So I'm going to stay because this will connect my mind with this website that I'm probably going to get something from this website.
Yes.
So
We call that in the
this is
business brand expectation. You're setting up an expectation of the experience and being able to show that in visual form is now, I think, part of what websites have to do. And it's like you said, it's not about stuffing keywords and, being so heavily focused on SEO. And not that SEO is bad, but there has to be an experience behind it where it's not jarring when you show up. Absolutely. And you also mentioned, and I love that you mentioned this, Termageddon is Hans's company, and I love that company. Yeah, that he put in a code, and him and his massive amounts of attorneys keep tabs on every single change that's happening in every single state, and they just update it, and then it floats to your website and it just updates. So you don't have to continue to fix it. They do it on your behalf, and I love that. Yeah, I love that.
And one incident that came into my mind, you remember we worked with the Jason Ferguson. There was a site we built, jfinspires.com. So, and I remember in the very first, this is very essential. I mean, I ask all of my customer, even sometime if there is someone with your reference, I ask them to, okay, we need to speak for an hour. And in hour, I'm not actually only focusing that what they want. I'm focusing on their personality as well. So once you're talking with the Jason Ferguson, I saw him like, he's a very shaky guy. Most of the time he's shaking himself. He got a muscular body. He is never static. He's very energetic. He keeps on moving. That's a few of his videos on YouTube. He was in the TEDx as well. I forgot the chapter, but he was in the TEDx. I got a chance to see his video, and throughout his talk, he was moving from here to there, from one end to another end. Then coming here, he's engaging audience with all of his body languages and verbals and everything.
Yes.
And I was building his website. I tried to not only implement the things he speak, but also his personality. There was like jumpy and bumpy graphics there. If you take the mouse somewhere, so pictures will shake itself. And like I try to expose that energy. So this also depends, like I mean, he was a motivational speaker, but if there's any brand, so the brand has its own taste and flavor. If banana flavor is there, so I would definitely try to show the banana ice cream and banana milkshake. So things
absolutely. So what do you feel is The biggest misconception when people are coming in to either build a new website or they're going to redesign their website, what's something that they're holding on to from the past that used to be true that really doesn't apply anymore and it's something you have to manage through?
There are two major things which I would say the misconceptions are there. The one on which you can never compromise, and that's performance. Performance matters more than the visuals.
Yes.
So with that being said, the your visual aesthetic mistakes can be forgotten if the site is performing very well. If it's fast, whether it's I'm talking about the mobile app optimization and the performance, not necessarily being the speed, but also performing means right and accurate output on time. This also includes the accessibility, which is most of the time it's forgotten. People doesn't care about the accessibility. Like there are ADA compliance rule, there are PCI compliance rule, there are GDPR compliant rules. People never care about it.
Right.
Even on the marketplaces, they are taking the credit card information, but it's not PCI compliance. The website's supposed to be selling the goggles and glasses, but it's not compliant for the visually impaired people.
Yeah.
So this so there is, I'm all talking about the performance. The site should perform according to the target audience.
Right.
So the performance is the main thing which you keep in the mind, and obviously it, in a broader spectrum, it covers the user experience. And the second thing is the lack of research.
Mm.
Again, going back to your first question, um, in which you asked that the post-pandemic things, no, where people are working at home. You know what, like before pandemic, there used to be more than 100 people which used to sit in the hall where I was working before. And when someone completes something or doing something, so there was a lot of input. In general, people were walking around, they were looking at each other's screen, they were giving inputs, people are willingly asking even others, okay, how is this widget, how is this drop down, what should be the improvement? So there was a free of cost contribution by a lot of people, not on the development side, but there's a very good chance where the customer was sitting in his office, he was getting feedback. So it was a mutual effort to build the things. But right now, post-pandemic, things are changed. We go for the QA, we go for the optimization testing, we go for even black box or gray box or white box testing, stress testing, automated testing. But rarely I have seen people who go for the user research.
Yeah.
So user research is very important. The audience research is very important. And like there can be certain methods, like number one, you can do the interviews and surveys. You may have the personas development, which is very important. Like your key users, if you are building an app, you may have 20 free users, maybe your friends, your colleagues can be the paid audience, and they build their profiles and they start interacting with each other, which also come up with the usability testing. And the most importantly, analytics. We should
Hmm.
read the analytics and we should figure out our end audience, our end geography. And obviously, we cannot rule out the technological aspect as well. Just like in Saudi Arabia, a few weeks back, I signed up a contract and I'm just making their site compliance. And they launched their mobile app. And on their mobile app, there were like buttons in the bottom to change the things. And like in Android phone, you get 3 buttons in Android to go back, to go onto the home and to see the um, what we call the recent apps. I
Right.
think so. Meanwhile, I haven't used Android phone, but it's like that. And then right on the top, there were their bar, and it was all mixing up. So
Oh.
this is the experience, and they spent, I don't know the amount, but probably several grands on designing those screens. And then I had to sit with their designer. We went back and I gave him the logic why this is not the right idea to putting the right buttons. No, on the other hand, then from their side, they come up on an innovative idea to put the notification bar on the top center of the screen. And on the iPhones, you see there is an island
Yep.
in iPhone 15. I'm not sure till 16, but on
Yeah.
15, it's
15
like
Pro has it too. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
there is an island.
Yeah.
And anything on your screen behind this is not touchable. You cannot
Right.
use that. So
Yeah.
these are the minor aspects. When we do the compliance, when we do the accessibility, or we are making any design, we make sure all these aspects in our mind. And who tells me this thing? Obviously, there are hundreds of thousands of mobiles coming every day. We cannot tap each other. We cannot test onto each other. The only way is the user testing. So
Right.
there are obviously data available, and then actual users available. Even we do this thing for the user testing. When we sign up any customer, we do have several companies on board in African countries, in one in the Colombia, in India, in Pakistan, and we engage at once more than 200, 300 people for that brutality testing. And they try to just throw the garbage and everything on your system, and they try on even like 10 years old mobile phone on 3G internets and edge internet, and they come up with and that's the actual feedback.
Yeah.
If you clean that whole garbage, and then you obviously you bring a diamond out of the coal mine, if you can just work on that thing. So the user experience, so that's a misconception, that we build something with our own mind and we believe that we are intelligent enough to conclude this product, but technically we are not that intelligent. Our end user, a group of user in a bigger scenario, a complete geography, is
Yeah.
even more intelligent from us, and let's consolidate their feedback, and then whatever we build, that's called a compliant user experience based product.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, again, in
Yeah.
nutshell, two things: performance and
Yeah.
user data, user research.
Yeah.
That's
Talk to me as well about, I just want to touch this. There are, let me back it up. When people ask me about building a website and I tell them to work with you, one of the key reasons I do that is it's not that you're anti-customization, but you use already established code and you're not doing all these crazy add-ons that really may not actually affect the user experience. And I can see you're about to cry thinking about it. So I mean, I think I understand why that's important from a stability standpoint, from a maintenance standpoint. When there's a lot of custom code, there has to be a lot of hands in the code to keep it going. Is that the key reason why having these, I know some developers are like, sure, we can customize anything. And you're like, I think you got to think about what you're customizing and what the impact is, and customization for customization's sake doesn't make a lot of sense. And I also believe there's enough code out there. We've been creating mobile apps, websites for quite some time, that there's already plugins and code established that can make the process cleaner, and with a reduction in customization, and correct me if I'm wrong, with the reduction in customization, it helps make the website more stable as new updates come through and you're not having the website crash. Like I think about Inaflex Solutions, Robert, with Inaflex Solutions, and how he had, I think it was like over 50 plugins, and his website was just so customized together that I was afraid it was just going to break at any time, because every time something updated, it could shut down 15 plugins and the whole thing could go down. Is that accurate? Or how would you explain it?
partially, you have already answered this thing, and it's not a question what I can answer you in 100% in all stretch, but
Right.
in small, in a summarize or a brief way, I would say that it's all a metrics. It's a metric of cost and quality, requirements, customer demands, and timeline. So
Yeah.
there are different things, and we have to just consider each of the things, and then we decide, okay, no, to me, custom solution is always best.
Okay.
Custom solution is always best. If you have the right budget, right bandwidth, right people, the solution architect, and you can spend that much time, go for the custom solution. But obviously it comes with a high toll, which is cost.
Right.
Now, if you have to bring something in a reasonable cost, and obviously the end product is not going to create a too much, obviously site create a too much impact on your business, but it's not like that you're going to end up spending a millions of dollars for a
Right.
small brand. So
Right.
for a small brand, when we conclude some website in $3,000, $4,000 or $5,000, in that scenario, we need to make sure that site must be accomplished in a month time frame.
Right.
Then we go for off-the-shelf products. And off-the-shelf products, not like if, I mean, there are 10s or 20 products available. It's not like we can buy anything. Then we
Right.
do our research, then we buy the product. And if we buy an off-the-shelf products, then it's not our rule anymore. The rule comes with that product.
Right.
What can we do and what we can't do? There is a common saying among, say, I'm talking about the WordPress. I'm a strong believer of WordPress. I've been contributing to WordPress. I have products, I have themes, I have plugins on the WordPress. And on WordPress, there's a very common question I've been asked around the world, that it's insecure, it gets compromised, it gets slow, the site gets crashed, the life of the website is just an year or 2 years. And I have a very justified answers for them. WordPress is the most secure things. Number one, we are taking a repository from WordPress.org, which is a community build. Then there are multiple layers of quality. Then there's a number of hundred of thousands of websites who have contributed, who actually developed their website. They give the feedback, the product is being matured. So there is no way this code is not compliant or insecure. So number one, that code is fine. Now, if we purchase a theme, so theme comes with its own rules.
Right.
There are, if a theme supports the Elementor, we need to make sure that our pages must be designed and established in Elementor. If it doesn't support the Elementor, so we cannot try to install it. If we install it, some XYZ things may happen. So this can be due to the disaster. And then when we call, like, you know what, I wish I could have a brand new Mercedes standing outside, but unfortunately, like, we have said big no to a lot of customers who wanted to do some 10 features on their website, and we said, okay, no, we can't do the 10. We probably can get 3 or 4 features.
Right.
Because I'm not never comfortable in creating any piece of code or installing any plugin. So we just make sure that we are not going beyond the limits of the WordPress and those plugins. Now it comes to actually the problem, the people claims that our website is broken or compromised or insecure. So yes, it happens when you do unwanted customization. You create a piece of code without any validation and install that plugin into the WordPress. It's going to blast. It's going to accept like all the malicious type of things. Just like a very small example, for the we use the Contact7 form, which is well furnished plugin, and it's already secure for building the forms. Now, if client come to me and they say, okay, I don't want to spend $10 for that Contact7 form, but can you build a small form? It's going to be 3 or 4 fields. Yes, I can do that. All I would do, I'll open up a file, I'll create 3 fields, and bottom, I can create a download or upload file field where people can upload image. I mean, I'm a human being and I'm just sitting single. There's a very good chance by uploading, I forgot to add the validation that only PDF or only image file can be uploaded.
Right.
So if you get that validation, someone is going to upload exe files or malware files onto the server, and they start bombing if there is no validation, stuff like thing. So the site is compromised. So the site is compromised due to the bad development practices, immature developers, the people. I mean, you know what, like the major thing, the one of the very common factor is the pricing factor. A lot of people come to us and they say, okay, we want to get this done, and we say $3,000, but we say, okay, no, the actual cost is going to be $5,000. So then they end up working with some freelancers. They don't have this much experience for the user experience and the security protocols. Then they lead to the disaster. They build their website, but the website age stays for like no more than a year or 2 years. I still remember, and I can provide you the links. Proudly I'd share those links with my customer, the sites which I built in 2012, 13. It's more than 10 years. The sites are still the same, and still all they need to click the update button,
Yeah.
and it'll update the whole WordPress, all plugins, all themes, everything with no stress in the mind. Sites are still secure and they are working.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a complete matrix while selecting whether to go for the custom. If go custom, then go all custom and have to have
Okay.
complete.
So if you're going to do custom, do
Go all
custom.
custom,
Just
then
do
just
custom.
take
Otherwise,
yeah.
yeah, when you're picking and choosing, yeah,
Yeah.
especially if
Now we
you're
can do the
if you're trying
customization
to
and
build the
people.
website to the budget, I think that's the problem, right?
Yeah, so
You're making the budget
second,
be the control, and then you're trying to
true.
fit the website to the budget versus this is the website I want. This is what's non-negotiable. These are
Yeah.
things that would be nice to add, but let me think about whether or not they actually enhance the user experience and then seeing
Yeah.
what the budget is.
Yes. So in
Yeah.
WordPress, in Shopify, Magento, when we opt any theme, then we have to follow the theme rules as well.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
technically speaking, you are not technical, but there is another technical explanation that every themes come with the hooks. Hooks mean the certain way of expanding those functionalities.
Mm.
So we can just what we call as an insert our code using those hooks. So in a lot of plugins, even the good themes, not everywhere hooks are available. So we
Yeah.
are bound to extend the functionality in those given hooks. So that also create a bottleneck. And there we have no other way than saying, okay, we cannot do this thing. And I
Yeah.
proudly just use those things. Sometimes it feels bad to the customer. But yeah, I cannot leave my quality in order to just get one minor feature on the website. I cannot play with the sanity and security of the website.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. What's one thing that a business can do to kind of prep for whether it's a new website build, whether it's a rebrand of their website? Is there one thing that you notice that you have to kind of tell people to do in advance, or something that they can do to prep to make your job easier?
I just answered you a while back regarding when you were asking the misconceptions.
Oh, with the research? Yeah.
The research is very important. Obviously, when you are planning to build something, you don't have an analytics, you cannot engage the users right away. But bringing the right people who can do the business analysis first. So business
Yes.
analysis is very important, even if it's a small project, even if it's going to be the one-pager website. Business analysis is important to connect the customer psychology onto that paper and
Yep.
bring the heart out on the paper of the customer, so that so the business analysis very much important, which also includes the competitive advantages.
Yes.
What your competitors are doing, how they are running their website. Maybe you can bring something better than them. So not every case study, not every business is the same. Every business has its own significance. So once you study your customer, there's a very good chance that you say, okay, we can do this thing better than them. So you can just do that thing. They have their own significance. You establish their own significance.
Yep.
So the most common problem among our customers is if they are inspired with someone's website, they just want it to be replicated, which is totally wrong.
Yeah.
So when we replicate all the good and bads of those. So we can just adopt good from those, and then we can think of our own goods. And it's all part of the business analysis.
Yeah.
So the business analysis, including the competitive research, is key over here. And then obviously, if you have a good designer, you're a good team lead, a good project manager, with the help of everyone, you can definitely create a really impressive user experience. If you are able to build after all this research, I'm pretty much sure you are not going to redesign the things. There are other designing loops. We design a homepage, we launch it, and then someone came, oh, this is the problem, there's the problem. And then designer says, I need to redesign the whole thing.
Right.
So why don't we design it on the paper first? And then keep on refining it until everyone is on the same page. Once everyone is on the same page, then you should go for the development. Exactly the same thing if you talk about, we are just doing a project at this moment, and the customer actually, she wanted us to design something. When we put it on the paper, so the thing on her mind and actual on the paper was entirely different. And then we had to change that thing 3 times. I don't mind, because it doesn't take much of the time. It's not in development yet.
Right.
But after
Right.
a certain time, we probably spent half of our time in creating the design and mock-ups and everything. And once everything was done, then we moved into the development. And since then, we haven't spoke with customer because we know what we know. We know
Right.
what we have to do. And she
Yeah.
also know. And the moment we delivered the project, I mean, the very first draft she was excited to see that.
Yes.
So the research and before time analysis is the key of the successful project.
Yeah.
And you know what, Lisa, before this call, we were talking about, it's been a long time we are working. We did more than a dozen projects together. And so far, our success rate is
100%.
100%.
100% on time, on
Success,
budget,
yes,
exceeded client
nothing
expectations. Yeah.
exceeded budget. Everything is on time and according to the expectations, even beyond expectation. In a few cases, it was beyond expectation. In the case of Bradley Honor,
Yep.
Parisa, Bahia,
Yep.
we were beyond their expectations. So in all those, the reason is because you do your research, I do we do our workshops, and then we decide a prototype first. And
Yes.
then when we go into the development, things goes like this. Everything
Yeah.
is expedited. There is no way of turning back because there is no need for turning back.
Right. The
So
planning
never turn
stage
back,
is the most
never redo the
important.
things. So one go and the project launch.
Plan,
Great.
plan, and then plan.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
planning is more
Planning is
important.
crucial. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
So Fahad, if the viewers wanted to get in touch with you to talk to you about your services, talk to you about their website, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with you. They can just Google Fahad Shakil, my name. They can go workforcecommerce.com. They can fill out the form, and they can also contact me at Fahad, Fahad at workforcecommerce.com. So
Awesome.
I'm available. My LinkedIn is there. I probably, wherever you're gonna put this video, try to add your LinkedIn or my LinkedIn, so that people can get connected. So I'm the good thing is I keep on traveling around the world. You don't know where I am at this moment, but I'll be somewhere else next month and then next month. But I'm configured to work for 12 hours a day, and most of this time is in American business hours.
Yep.
Starting from 9 a.m. Eastern time zone all the way to 5 p.m. Pacific time zone. So I'm highly available, highly responsive. And sometimes like you talk that how I have experience in heterogeneous technologies and things, because I'm crazy about the IT things and crazy about work. That's my passion. So I'm always configured to work. You call me anytime. You never find me sleeping. So I'm
I don't know
up.
when you sleep.
I sleep when I have to sleep. When I know no one is going to contact me sometime in the chunks. But on the weekends, if there is no work, I sleep well for 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours a day. But on working days, it's like 3, 4 hours, 5 hours is fine.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was an amazing conversation, and I even learned some new stuff, which is exciting. Please make sure that you are making a comment. You're contacting Fahad. It will not be time wasted. Make sure that you contact him on your website and mobile app. Even if you're about to sign a contract, stop and call him, because he might give you some additional information that you didn't think of. My name is Lisa Apolinsky, and Fahad said it best, and I just want to reiterate this, that it's about the user experience. It's not about you, whether it's your website, your communication, your personal branding. It is about how people show up and engage with you. And that is the most important thing when you're developing your website and your personal branding. I'm Lisa Apolinsky. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.